Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the movement. Thank you for joining us at the movement. We are the movement. We're a motivational organization here to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. And as we so affectionately say, we are a move meant to move. Yes, we are a move that's meant to move. We don't stay in one spot. We don't hit just one thing. We hit a whole surface. We're a movement to move. And we want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living the best version of yourself and win. We tapped into some winners' resources, a winner's mindset. We're seated at the winner's table, and we want you to join us, right, Annette?
That is so right. I was thinking, Anita, when you were talking about movement to move, I saw this avatar. We do our commercial. But anyway, I'm excited about tonight. Buckle up. We have another wonderful conversation. So thank you so much for coming tonight.
Yes, another wonderful conversation. And we're gonna, like jump right in. Our topic tonight, walking the thin line. Honestly, it's a very familiar phrase. It means to achieve or attain a balance or to be very close between two different ideas or attitudes at the same time. That's something. To be
Yeah.
between two at the same time. Now, as a kid, when I think about this, there are a couple of words that pop into mind. But as a kid, I was pretty good at gymnastics at one point. But, like me with I think with every sport, I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to run track the way I wanted to run. I didn't want to run the distance. I only wanted to run the sprints. And I didn't want to do the hurdles because my legs were too short. But when you join a team, you have to train in all areas, and then they put you where your strength is, but you still have to do all of it. And I didn't like that part. So as a kid, the reason I didn't like gymnastics was because with the flips, oh man, I could flip and flip and flip. I could just move around and everything. But when it came to balance beam, oh my God, it was so difficult. And I found it very hard to find my balance. I just couldn't do it. So, and life a lot of times is that way. We have this balance being right in the middle of all of our stuff, in the midst of our connections, in the midst of work. We have school, family, marriage, business, oh, and God. And sometimes we don't even put him on the list. So we're like, ooh. So we have to balance. And sometimes it's difficult to balance all of the many facets of our lives. There's a
True.
saying though, that and it's true, and isn't it? It's hard to balance everything. I mean,
It
especially when
really
you
is.
work. Hey, well, especially when you work, and for people who have kids, and when you have younger kids, it's like much harder because they need your time. They need help with the homework. You have to make sure they eat. You have to make sure they get a bath. Make sure they go to bed. That's why when you're a grandparent and you babysitting, boy, that's a hard thing to do. You sweating and tired and frustrated and short tempered. Am I down your street on that?
Yeah, yeah, Lord have
You're
mercy.
short fuse and you can't wait till their mama come back and get them. So, so the thing is, there's a saying too that when it comes to that thin line, and as people of faith, there's a saying that there's a thin line between faith and foolishness.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, sometimes your faith walk might look foolish because of the thin line you're on. There's so many ways to spin it.
You're right. You're right.
Yes,
That's so
we can
true.
we can
That's so
walk that thin line and call our foolishness faith, but then others and even us can look at our thin line and call it foolishness when it's just our walk. It's where we're supposed to be. And we'll look at our faith walk, and others will look at our faith walk and like, "Ooh, she must be crazy. I can't believe she gonna try to do that. I can't believe she trying to start this business. I can't believe she's actually gonna dive into this right now. I can't believe she quit her job. Oh, can you believe that was the stupidest thing? I can't believe. And a lot of times people will have you thinking the same way about the decisions that you make about your walk of faith.
That's true.
But it's your walk. And sometimes it might look foolish because we are walking a thin line in life. And the word that comes to mind tonight, which is gonna be my word, y'all know I have to do a word. The verb of choice tonight is balance. Now, intransitively, balance means to become established. Transitively, it means to bring into harmony. And we look at, when I looked at this word, of course, I go into the etymology. I look up the, where the word came from and every word that's connected to it. I love to study verbs. And I love to study them intransitively and transitively because God gave me something years ago. And ever since then, I can't help it. I'm always going to look at the verbs in any scripture and any phrase. I'm always going to find a verb that connects to it because, of course, we know verbs action. And so our lives have action, and I want to know how to make this activate in my life. And so when I looked at this word balance, I noticed that there was one word that was both between the intransitive and transitive state of the verb, which was counterbalance, which means it's a weight that balances the other. That one balances the other, a weight that balances the other. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. Counterbalance. So intransitively, to become established, transitively, to bring into harmony, both meaning a weight that balances the other. So we're gonna dive right in. There's some stuff in here that we're about to unfold. We're gonna dive right in with that counterbalance, and we're gonna find the weight that balances the other. We're gonna find our way to balance what we're experiencing, what we're dreaming, what we're striving for, what we're seeing in our visions and in our dreams, and what we're believing God for, and also life, living. We have to live. We can't become so consumed by one thing that it overtakes everything else. That's and true. Then there has to be a way to balance the things that you have to have balanced in your life. So now we're going to go into our presentation. And this one kind of got me tonight. It's been a while since I've said, because usually I'll say, "Ooh, this got me. Ooh, that got me." But I haven't said that in a while because it's just been interesting to see where we've gone with these conversations. But I will say that this one kind of got me tonight because I am one, and Annette often says, as she teases me, that I'm Jamaican. We always know that when somebody says you must be Jamaican, how many jobs you got, Mom? And that's always Annette's thing with me. Girl, you must be Jamaican with a gazillion jobs. And sometimes I feel like that, but of course, I can't help but turn everything I do into, a business because Anita Faye Wilson is a brand. So I stay walking the thin line.
Yes.
I stay right there. I stay walking the thin line. And you know what? The thing is, when we're on this faith line, and it's a line of faith. Remember I said that to some people it might look foolish. But we do tend ourselves while walking the thin line to teeter-totter. And we start teeter-tottering between dangerously moving towards foolishness on the other side of the faith line.
Okay.
Because there's a thin line.
Yeah.
If it's on this side, foolishness is on the other side. And sometimes we will teeter-totter on the foolish side by listening to what other people say, by not believing, there's a lot of things that cause us to teeter-totter. But one of the main things, and when you look at that lady, if you've ever watched somebody on a tightrope, it's one of the hardest things to watch because, especially when they do that little teeter-totter thing, you're like, oh, he gonna fall. He gonna fall down in the canyon and his head gonna bust on all the rocks. And a lot of times we'll look and people will look at us at our faith walk, and we will look at our faith walk and we were like, oh my God, I'm on this thin line. Why did I get out here? I'm all the way out here in the middle. Now I gotta keep going or I gotta turn around. Or, knowing some of us will just let go of the bar and just fall on the line and hold on for dear life, wait for somebody to come and get you. But when I look at this, when I look at that person on the tightrope, and I look at it from my point of view, like, wow, that's how I might look sometimes. I understand that in order for that person to be as calm as they are all the way out in the middle of that line, they have to do this. They don't panic. They cannot panic. Oftentimes we find ourselves right there at the brink of where we're supposed to be, and because it feels so unsettling, we go into panic mode because we are afraid. We're scared of the unknown. We're scared of what we don't see in front of us. And we're afraid that if we lose our balance, if we can't find the weight that balances the other, if we can't find that foundation, if we can't establish our balance, establish our footing, and bring our mind and our heartbeat, because you know your heart starts racing, you start breathing hard, like, and if we can't bring all of that stuff under control, then we'll find ourselves in a place of panic, and we're afraid that we're going to fall. And that's what keeps a lot of us from stepping out on faith into business, into ministry, into the things that God has called us to do, and even leaving bad situations, bad relationships, even when God says quit your job or to move or something. You know, I've been there where I was told to get out and I stayed, and 6 months later, another prophet came and told me to get out again. And Annette was there. She can tell you that she witnessed it. And she was like, okay. I remember when that happened to me, I had one person that said a whole lot to me, and I was standing there in like, I didn't want to be, I hate being one of the ones, especially when somebody comes and they be pointing people out. I cannot stand that. I didn't want to be one of the ones. So when this person started pointing people out, here I am standing there, and I'm like, oh goodness. And I'm carrying sheets. I'm the person who's laying the sheets down on the people who passing out and fall like, oh, you know, they slain in the spirit. And so I'm laying sheets, and then he turned right around and pointed at me. And my heart dropped all the way down to my stomach and came back up. I was like, oh, no, don't ring my bell up in here. And then he started to prophesy over my life, and it was so intense. And I was like, oh my goodness, is he really talking to me? Is this really what I'm supposed to do? And the thing is, I already knew because God had already given me a timeline. But it was just scary hearing it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to be sure. I'm just going to be sure. I'm just going to be certain. And then God came right back again 6 months later, and almost the exact same thing was said to me. And Annette turned to me and said, oh, so are you going to listen now? Are you going to do what you need to do? Or somebody else have to come and tell you what you need to do? I'm like, oh my goodness. And I had to do what I had to do. So instead of panicking, I had to step out on that faith walk. I had to step out on that thin line. And I had to continue on the thin line, even when it seemed unsafe, because I had to be confident that I had stepped in the right direction. And when you have your stuff, when you have your plan, when you're prayed up, and when you know that the voice that you're hearing is authentic and it is God, when you know that you're right where you're supposed to be, then the further you walk, the more faith you build, the further you walk, and you start to feel a little better. Each step gets a little better, and we have to continue the process because, trust me, there are gonna be winds. I be thinking about, what if a bird fly by them or a mosquito lands on their arm and they want to scratch? What's going to happen then? And we will have those things. We'll have all of those things that will happen. But eventually, we start to walk. And then I don't know if you heard the story I was telling or not, when I was talking about how I had the prophecy that I had to get out.
Yeah, I heard
the prophecy came again.
Yeah.
And it was like, are you gonna do what you need to do now, or are you gonna obey the voice of the Lord? And so I had to be obedient, and I had to step out. And even when I stepped out, it felt unsettling. But I had to get control of myself so that I didn't panic. And then getting past panic mode, I was like, oh, okay, all right. But see, the next thing that can happen is the thrill can jolt your judgment.
Wow.
So when you do step out, don't get so full of yourself that you're like, oh, I got this. Oh, we got this. Oh, we gonna launch our class. Oh, we gonna do it. And then they got together. She came all the way down here with her daughters. We spent a whole weekend. Had the film crew. We were doing our thing. And we had to stop and rewind because why? We were not ready, and the thrill had jolted our judgment that we got ahead of the game. So you can't get ahead of yourself and start looking at the end. You gotta focus, because if you don't, the thrill of you being out there on that tightrope can jolt your judgment and cause you to make a false step. And when you're on that thin line, all it takes is one false move and you're done.
Come on now.
So in the teeter-totter moments, it might be unsettling. It might be moving a little bit, but you can't panic and you can't get full of yourself. But there's one thing that you do need to do is release the giant within. Because inside you, and this is one of the things that I had to come to the realization, is that even though I felt small, and sometimes when you're going through stuff, people can make you feel so small. And verbal abuse is real, and being crushed and hurt in the process of something that you're passionate about is a very real thing. And what we have to do is understand that even though I'm out here, but I have something on the inside of me that is bigger than all of the chatter that's on the outside. And that is because God has given you and equipped you with everything you need. And the only voice that you need to listen to is His.
That's it, Nita. That's it.
Even when you're getting a word from somebody else, don't get it twisted now. Because yes, people can come and bring you a word of encouragement, a word of wisdom. That's God. But you have to be able to discern what is God and what is not. And you've got to release the giant from within, because when you stand tall in your faith and confidently on the word of God, you are a giant to everything else that is around you. I used to say all the time, my mom used to say this. She used to say, I might be short, but I cover the ground I stand on. And she sure did. Because if she came towards you, you would swear you're going to die. I don't care how much taller than her you were. If she was to charge at you, oh my God, you swear you're going to die. Jesus, just take me down. That's what I used to feel like. Just take me down. But we have to learn to release that giant from within and stand firm and tall, because otherwise your teeter-totter will take control of you. Mm-hmm. And this is how we control that teeter-totter. We don't panic. We don't get full of ourselves. We stand tall and firm, and we just continue to take one step at a time. You can't cover the whole area in 20 seconds. You can't have the dream today and be in it tomorrow all the way at the end. You can't open the business today and make $1 million tomorrow and be like, I'm done. Mm-mm. It takes work. And when you hear the stories of people who have started businesses and become successful, and you hear the stories behind ministries, when I hear Jake's story about how they were so excited when they used to get in their caravan and be driving all over West Virginia, going from church to church, and how when he took his little money that he had and printed books, and the books sold out, he had to take the money from the books and print more books. And those were $1 loosed. And to think that it started from the hills of West Virginia, where his suits looked funny and he wore black and white shoes. Remember those days? Those black and white shoes? Oh my God, and those funny looking suits.
He had a little bit more hair.
And he had a little bit more hair. He still had a little pie in the top, but he had a little bit more hair. But he started from such humble beginnings. And I've learned to despise not humble beginnings, because those moments, even though it might take a year or two to really get things off the ground, it's training ground. You're taking life one step at a time. You're taking the vision one step at a time, instead of trying to gobble up the whole thing and run across a tightrope. You mess around and try to run across that if you want to. Talk about the thrill jolt in your judgment. You'll be off in the rocks or splattered on the ground and be like, boy, why you did that? Did God didn't do it? You did it to your own foolish self. So you've got to learn to take the stride, because you will teeter-totter. But guess what? That's what it is, because we are walking a thin line.
Yes.
It gets better.
Between possibility and impossibility, lines are blurred. Oftentimes in our life, we have our visions, our dreams, and they can be a little blurred. Don't look like you'll ever get there. Don't look like you ever make it. And so life gets that way sometimes, but you got to keep looking, because even with a person with blurred vision, if they get corrective glasses, they'll be able to see. So sometimes
Okay.
those sight need to be corrected, even in times of blurriness. But the first thing I want to talk about, don't allow weight to become a habit. Don't allow weight to become a habit. And that word weight is acronym for that is why am I talking? The problem is we talk about it, but we don't be about it. You know, weight is what I spend so much time talking about what I'm going to do. Oh, I'm going to build my dream. I'm going to, commit to this task. I'm going to start selling my dinners. But all you do is talk. You say, why am I talking? And that's what weight is. But it becomes a habit. So if you keep waiting, keep talking about what you're gonna do, eventually it'll become a way of life. It becomes a habit. You have to learn how to act as you go. You have to tackle problems as they arise. Because when you on this road and building your vision or your dream, uh, things will arise. You have to maximize your distractions. That means you have to turn off social media. Sometimes turn off your phone. I know it's hard to do
It
sometimes.
is hard to do
But,
sometimes.
we have to understand that we cannot allow weight, me running my mouth. Why am I talking? I ask myself often before I really start working on some things. I'm like, why am I talking about this? I always talk about it. Think about it, Anita. We were in a season of why am I talking? Because all we did was pray, which don't
Hmm.
get me wrong, nothing wrong with praying, but we weren't putting nothing to action. So
Exactly.
we were in our wait season. God, sometimes God put us in a wait season, and sometimes we
Right.
put ourselves in a wait season.
Hmm.
And a lot of times when you get in that season, all you want to do is talk, but you don't do any work. So
Hmm.
the wait season is that season when you're talking and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to
Right.
do this.
Hmm.
But I declare, if you keep waiting, watch, it becomes a habit. You'll be waiting. You'll start waiting now. A year from now, you'll be waiting. What if we had still been praying, and we still do pray? But I'm talking about praying about starting the movement. We'd have
Hmm.
been in this, all we're gonna do is talk. But you know, we weren't just talking about it, but we had to be about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Life processing is slow. Life process is slow. Quitting won't speed it up. Just because it has not happened yet, don't mean it won't. Life can move slow, but just because you quit, don't make it speed up. The
Come
time,
on.
the time you sit around, think, but I ain't gonna never make it. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. And you quit. But time's still going on. And so all that time that you spent, you know, uh, 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 listening to people, you had to learn how to block out negativity. You had to learn how to live in gratitude. Like you were saying earlier, Anita, I was listening to you and how grateful you are where you are now. And we were talking earlier before we came on, how God will bless you even in a famine. And he did it. If you read all through the Bible, he did it for Joseph and his dad and his brother. He caused Joseph to be thrown in the pit. But years later, Joseph was going to be a blessing. So God will
Hmm.
allow you to be a blessing. So and also you have to let go of the past and realize nothing is perfect. It's this thing.
Hmm.
This walk is not perfect.
It's
It's
not.
not. Sometimes you do want to throw in the towel, and sometimes you do want to give up. But it changes nothing, because once you stop, life still goes on. And that time you sit around and saying, I'm never gonna make it. That's time you can figure out, okay, I can't do this, but God, let me figure out something else I could do. Like with us, we know we didn't have the finances, so God gave us innovative ideas. And Anita's very savvy when it comes to social media, and so things that we didn't have to pay for, eventually we will, but those are the things we did. So when God started blessing us with money and revenue, then we've already put some stuff in place. We're not just waiting on the money to come before we start putting stuff in place. So just know, quitting does not speed up life. And really, in reality, quitting will slow it down, because you'll be thinking, I should have been doing this. I should have been, and you start questioning yourself. So, but also focus on one step at a time, not the staircase. See,
Mm.
you alluded to it earlier, Anita, how, life is one step at a time. I know we want to climb the staircase, we want to stairway to heaven, we want to climb, we want to get there, but you have to
Hmm.
one step at a time. You have to unbelieve some stuff sometimes.
Okay.
You have to unbelieve, because we have our own personal believers. I have learned how I have to unbelieve stuff, and I have to face my fears, and I have to let go of things, you know, and I have to do the big D to decide. I have to decide, am I going to do this? Am I going to take this step? I see, at the top of the stairs that there's some wonderful things, but I understand that before I get there, I got to go one step at a time. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you time to step, and I've done this, and you try to skip a step and jump high, sometimes it can cause a little discomfort depending on what type of shape you're in. Now, if you're a kid,
Mm-hmm.
do it. But so life sometimes is not always meant to go 2 or 3 steps. Sometimes life is just meant to go one step at a time. This is what happens when you go one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
This way you don't miss some stuff, because sometimes when you get ahead of yourself, and that's what happened when we tried to put our program together when I went down south. Now Nina had her stuff together, but I was just as ragged as a mango seed.
Girl, I ain't have my stuff together either.
Yeah. But the point of the matter is, I was not where I should have been. You know what I'm saying? I could, when I go back and look at it, and maybe God, I know He allowed it for whatever reason, but I was not prepared. It sounded good. I was excited. I was gonna be on camera. Where I couldn't wait. My little makeup, but that had nothing to do with what I was supposed to do. I was not prepared, and so when I started to produce what I had, it was not conducive to where we were going. And so again, I was trying to step, instead of me taking that one step at a time, I tried to skip a couple of steps, and I almost lost my way. But God has a way of restoring. He restores you sometime when we get off, on the tangent, get off the path. So also you have to learn to give up your good for great. You have to learn how to give up your good. So of course, I'm an acronym person, and good is God opened other doors. And sometimes we have to understand, when we're walking through good, that means all that means is God is getting ready to open some other doors. Good is a great thing. It's good. Good is a quantity of degree, satisfactory. But great is it's above average. So you can either be satisfied above average. Great is this. Get ready. No, get really excited about today. That's what great is. Get really excited about today. Good is God opened other doors, and great, get really excited about today. So what you have to learn how to do, as you going from your good to your great, well, God to open other doors. That's your good, but then get ready. Since He's already opened those doors, get excited about what He's doing today. God is getting ready to move. He's getting ready to get you somewhere, but you got to learn how to be excited about what God is doing for us as we walk through this journey. And like I said, it's sometimes the lines are blurred, and sometimes it seems the impossible don't seem possible. But I declare to you, if you continue to walk, if you continue to move, and don't allow your weight to become habit and move, quitting is really not it's not an option. Focus on one step, not the entire staircase, and learn to give up good for great. I, I like being good, but it's nothing like being great. I tell you,
Okay.
thank God for the good. And where we are now, we're in our good season, and that's okay, because God is opening up doors. But I declare that we're getting ready to walk in our great season, and I speak that over the people that's listening today. And I speak that over the lives of those who will listen later, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years from now. I believe that you're getting in a season of great. We've been in our season of good. We've been in our season of barely making it. We've been in our season of, oh,
Okay.
can I build this organization? Can I build my brand? But I declare and I speak it, that you will walk in great. And I just wanted to share that with you. I feel compelled to really let you know, because again, because of the season we're in, it don't even look like it's good. Let's know great. But I
Okay.
declare
But
that
hey,
it is, and we
it
shall walk.
is.
Okay, we have to learn to navigate, to strike a balance. We have to get to the place in our life that we can navigate to strike a balance. Sometimes we get off kill. We again, when you were talking earlier, Rita, how we get so consumed, and we don't, like, because I'm gonna use this for example. Today, okay, I bought a computer. I've been had that thing for about 3, 4 days, almost a week, really, to be honest. And so I'm so busy trying to do everything, and I got so much. It seems like my time is limited. I'm trying to learn how to balance. I'm trying to learn how to, get to a place where I can use my day wisely, because once time is gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. And so I'm to that place. So I'm trying to navigate and get to a place to get some kind of balance, so I can be effective, because sometimes we do a whole lot of stuff and we don't do none of it good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to learn how to maximize my moments and
Mm-hmm.
those times. that whatever I'm doing, that I do my best. And a lot of times I'll start something and I put it to the side, I start something. So I had to learn, and I'm speaking for myself, I had to learn how to get a balance. And one of the first things I want to talk about is that lifelines are sometimes crooked. So, y'all, it's hard to walk a straight line in the crooked world. It really is. And, you've already decided, you wrote your vision, about to write your vision, make it plain. But along the way, it talks about that crooked road. It talks about how, he makes that crooked road straight. In life, it's like that. You have everything planned, everything lined up, and all of a sudden, there's that crooked road. And it's hard to walk a straight in the crooked road and zigzag. And sometimes we have to zigzag to our big goals, because I don't care what you do, there's never just one straight path. You can have everything lined up. You can have all the money. You can talk. You've already talked to the people, say you buy it, and it could be one thing that throw a monkey wrench in it, and that's how it is. So we have to learn how to stop fighting the wind and adjust ourselves, because the wind's going to come. The situation is going to come, and we got to adjust ourselves. We got to get to a place in life that even when the roads are crooked, and even though we have to zigzag, that we learn how still to walk. Because don't matter if the road is crooked or straight. If you keep going, you just follow the path of the road. I've learned that, if certain roads I've traveled on, how you're traveling, you're going straight. All of a sudden, I hate windy roads. But if you stay on that windy road, that crooked road, you will eventually get to where you're going. And so we have to know that life will throw a monkey wrench in them. Life will cause you sometimes just to step back and say, okay, now, did you call me to do this? Really? Is it? Because now everything was going okay, but all of a sudden, crooked roads. But we have to learn how to navigate. We have to learn how to navigate. If anybody know how to drive, you stay on your side of the road. You follow the road, and that's what I'm saying is, whatever life throws at you, follow the road, follow it. And I declare God's going to give you a way out. He always does. He's just that kind of God. When it looks like it's not going to work out, all of a sudden, you get a check in the mail. I've had it happen. All kind of things will happen when you're at the end of your road. And also the 3 G's, life choices. The 3 G's.
Okay.
Sometimes in life, there's at least 3 G's you have to really deal with, amongst other things. Sometimes you have to give in. You have to cease fighting, yield or surrender. Sometimes you say, God, I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired, but I have to get him. Sometimes you have to give up, yield control, lack and hope. You ever been to a point in your life, Anita, where you just wanted to give up? I'm not saying these are choices, okay? Mm-hmm. Give up, that means you lack hope. It don't seem like you can make it. You face defeat. You're like, what am I going to do? God, I don't understand what you're doing. But also, there comes a time in your life, and this is where I am, that you got to give it all you got. You got to put forth your maximum effort. So you either give up, give in, give up, or give it all you got. So I just decided I'm going to give it all I got, because I've already been in the season of giving in. I've already been in that season when I wanted to surrender and stop fighting, saying it's not worth it. I'm throwing in the towel, that's it. And I also been in that season when I wanted to give up, when it was no hope and didn't feel like I was going to make it. Life was coming at me at all angles, but then I'm in the season of now to give it all I got. So if God called me home tomorrow, I want to say I gave it all I had. I gave the best I could give. And I declare that to everybody on here, don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep fighting, because it's worth it. It's worth it. When it's important, you will find a way. When it's not, you'll find an excuse. Let me say that again. When it's important to you, you'll find a way. When it's not, you'll find an excuse. So you have to understand that giving up and giving in is just an excuse. But giving it all you got is what you need to do in life. Those are life choices. You have a choice. And we at the movement just decided to give it all we got, because we know that there's somebody that needs what we have. And there's somebody who needs to be encouraged. There's somebody who needs to know that regardless of what it looks like, there's a way. God always have a way of escape. Even in doing this pandemic or whatever you want to call it, God has a way of escape. There's a way. but we have to keep our faith in him, and he'll guide us. And next is control plus alt and delete to reboot. First thing you have to do in life, you have to control, CTRL, you have to control yourself. That's number one. Alter. You have to alter your thinking. Every now and then you have to change the way you think. Because, you know, even in our organization, we had to change some of the things, you know, way we were thinking. Because some of the things that we thought about earlier, they was not conducive to where we were going. And also you got to delete negativity. You're gonna have negativity. You're gonna have people speak in your life some stupid stuff. You're gonna have, you know, even when you speak to yourself. So you have to understand that you have to control yourself, alter your thinking, delete negativity, and then once you do that, you can reboot, restart, redo. And I declare we had to restart and redo because what we had going on, it was good for that season. But you know, as God take us to the next place, our next places in life, our season change. So one of the problems that I see a lot of times when I talk to people, and I do a lot of talking, obviously, but when I talk to people, one of the things people don't want to reboot. They want to do it like they always done it.
Nobody wants to reboot. That's
Yeah, but
true.
sometimes you gotta reboot, restart, redo it. It's okay. Go back to the stuff. Go back and start back. And this and when I actually I found this when I was studying, and I said, oh my gosh. So okay, I got to learn how to control myself. You know, I got to get. Well, this is my organization. This is my brand. This is who I believe God has called me to do and to be. So you know, I have to make sure I control myself and get myself in the right place, and then alter my thinking. Oh, sometimes y'all we have stinking thinking. You have to change that and delete a negativity, and a reboot is necessary. Not always, but every now and then in life, you need to reboot and you need to start over again. And again, my good friend Anita, she will tell you she has to have many, many jobs. but she, but no, that's not a bad thing because you know what? She had understood she had to reboot and she had to redo it and start over because she could have stayed and those businesses that maybe she decided this is not my season for that, but she decided, you know what? Okay, I'm going to the next thing. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, it had nothing to do with me. I'm gonna go to my other my fifth job. You know, but she kept going, and that's that type of tenacity. That's that type of way we need to become. You know, like almost that bulldog like mentality that I am going to pursue my brand with everything I got. I'm going to the next level. Whether you know whatever you've been called to do. So you need to get that type of tenacity. And then finally, the bottom line. Okay, the bottom line is just the bottom line. Nobody owes you nothing. That's just the bottom line. Nothing is carved in stone. That's just a bottom line. We have to dare to dream and take risks. That's just the bottom line. We have to, our final result is a final outcome, a process. You know, the bottom line is that this is something that you have told yourself and like us told others that we've been called to do this. We've been called to the movement. We've been called to WOW and, gifts and all a whole lot of other stuff we do. So the bottom line is, since you say you've been called, you need to take the time to learn everything possible to grow your brand, to enlarge your territory, to get to the place that you need to be. Because life is a thin line. We constantly walk through thin lines every day. But the bottom line is that God got this. So regardless of whatever you're going through, just know it don't matter what it looks like. It's your vision. It's your dream. It's your desire. It's that thing that you go to bed thinking about it and wake up thinking about it. So the bottom line is that whatever you don't do, oftentimes we need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves why. Why didn't I pursue? Now there are times when you can't do, but what about all the times that you could do? All the things that I learned a lesson. I remember, I'll be finished, Anita. I remember when I learned how to put the little brand on my logo. Is that a brand? What is it? And I could change the colors. Oh, you would have thought that, I was missing this kind of stuff. But you know what? Something that simple, it really, I think that was the, among other things, but I think that was one of my defining moments with my organization with gifts, when I could go in there and Hey Girl, I could go in there and change and actually put my brand on there. And so that gave me that jolt to let me know that I had what it takes. I had what it takes to get to the next level. I had what it takes to build, you know, because I've had a foundation for a long time, but I've never been able to build on it. So what's the point of having a foundation when you never build a house?
Come
And you
on.
never, you know, so all I had was a foundation. So now I put on some walls, and I haven't quite got my ceiling on yet, but the walls are coming up. You know, I poured the footers, and I did some other things I needed to do in order to build my house. So the bottom line simply is this, that I've been called to do this, and I declare until I'm called home, I am going to walk in my destiny.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? And that's the thing. That's the whole thing. Even you know, I was thinking about this very thing today, and that when I was preparing the final stuff, and that very thing that you just said is what God laid on my spirit, because I don't care. I was starting to have my little teeter-totter moment where, you know, like, okay, you're not a spring chicken anymore. I think I was watching a documentary. I don't know if any of you watched the documentary on Netflix of the Black women in business called She Did That. So I was watching it. I had watched it earlier, and I wanted to watch it again. But, you know, sometimes I have to watch it a second time to get clarity and just glean information. And I'm sitting there like, well, a lot of these women are, you know, some of them are close to my age, maybe my age, but they started their businesses like they're like 10 years ago and 15 years ago. And here I am in the midst of like a few businesses that are new, some are not, but a few things that I'm doing that are new. And of course, that seed of doubt starts to overtake you. But one thing to understand is that and I said, you know what? No, I had to like immediately get it out of my head, because I know what I'm supposed to do. And, you know, whatever God, however much time God has for me, I will spend the rest of my sane, mentally, cognitive, physically able body and mind doing exactly what I'm doing, because I know it's what I'm supposed to do. And our whole thing is that we walk like that, because we are put here to master the walk. Those things are put before us because they were designed for us. We are to master the walk. It's our whole purpose. Our whole purpose is to master this walk, to attain the balance on this faith line, to be after God's very own heart, and eventually, as I said, we'll become calm in the walk. The more you walk with God, the more, you know, and the more you know him, the less things will upset you and shake you. And even when it does, you know where to run to. You know where your help comes from. And that's why we have to get rid of the distractions and continue the stride, because it is our purpose. Yeah. Our purpose is to master the walk. That's why we're here. And the thing is, a lot of times we, you know, and I said this earlier, that it gets easier, and it does when you understand who you are. Right now, it might seem a little dim or a little dark, but the Bible says in Ephesians chapter, I think it's Ephesians chapter 5. Yes, Ephesians chapter 5, it says, but you are the light of the Lord. Those who formerly walked in darkness are the light of the Lord. So walk as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists of all goodness and righteousness and truth. So when we walk as children of light, when we walk as people who walk in light, there's no darkness, and we know exactly what we stepped into. And it will get easier, but you got to understand who you are. You got to understand whose you are and who put you on the rope in the first place. Who put you on the rope? And the one that put you on the rope got your back. But the thing is, we get out there, and like I said, we get unstable. We don't understand. Oh my God. Oh, I'm not gonna make it. But there's a safety net, even though you may not see it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Even though you don't see it, there is a safety net that is beneath you at all times. So you don't have to worry about falling, because why? He's going to catch you. Man, when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, there's no reason for me to be scared. Type in, don't be scared. Don't be scared, woo woo. Don't be scared, Sandy. Don't be scared, Brenda. Why? Because there's a safety net beneath you. Don't be scared or scared, as Homer said in the movie. Don't be scared. There's a safety net. He's got you. Even when you appear to fall, even when you think you're going to fall, your balance will improve. Why? Because you're on a predestined course for life. And believe it or not, you are right where you're supposed to be. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Because the thing is that whenever, I know that because I have faith, I will often look strange to people. And I might feel out of sorts. But because I am foolish enough, I got the faith the size of a mustard seed. I just believe God. I do. I believe him. And because I do, I'm not afraid. And I want to encourage you to do the same. You're on a predestined course for life. You're right where you're supposed to be. So don't be foolish. Don't be scared. Don't be looking down. Don't be looking back. And don't start holding on to the rope. You have got to believe the impossible. You've got to believe it. You've got to know where you are and why you are where you are.
Yes.
You have to believe the impossible. You have to believe the supernatural. You have to believe that God is doing the extraordinary through your life. He didn't call you to just be ordinary, just to do the same old every day. No, your faith still requires wisdom and practice and love and putting things into action and personal responsibility. You are responsible for your balance on the tightrope. You're responsible for the weight that balances against itself. You have a responsibility. Yes, God's going to help you, and you have the balance beam. You have the little balance tool. But guess what? When I looked up, remember in the beginning, I said there was one word that was both transitive and intransitive, and it was counterbalance. So your responsibility is the counterbalance. Your responsibility in this thing is the weight that balances against the faith. And it balances against what God has said and his promise. So you have a responsibility to be accountable to balancing things in your life. Yes, it might be tough. Yes, it might seem difficult. Yes, sometimes you might not feel like you're doing the right thing, or you're in the right place, or you're making the right moves. Is he the right one? Am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be doing this? Yes, it might seem like that a lot. You might face that a whole lot in this process. But you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. You're the weight that balances against everything else. So you have to just balance your weight. You have to, and sometimes, when I was on that balance beam, trust me, I didn't want to fall because it's embarrassing and sometimes it hurt. And I have a niece who's a real gymnast. I was not that. I got lucky with the things I wanted to do. And when the things that I didn't want to do, I did not do them, and that's when I quit. Okay, I quit a lot of stuff. And believe it or not, the person who got a gazillion jobs, I quit a lot of stuff. I quit ballet. I quit gymnastics. I quit piano. I didn't quit piano because I couldn't get it. I quit piano because I felt like I had enough of what I wanted to do. I never wanted to be a virtuoso. So I was like, okay, I'm good. I have enough of this one. I can move on to the next thing. And that little bit of piano is carrying me to this very day. So I had exactly what I was supposed to have. But there were a lot of things that I had to go through, a lot of things that were like, okay, this is not for me. I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to do this. So like I said earlier, sometimes you'll come to those things that you might feel like it's not working. And you may have to go through a couple of different tightropes. But guess what? You just keep walking. And when you get to the other side of that, we say, okay, well, this was not for me. Let me go jump on this rope. And when you walk on that rope, okay, now this one felt good to me. So now I'm going to take this rope. And you just keep moving. Because guess what? Everything that's in you, I don't know about you, but I want every little inch of what God got in me. All the dreams and stuff I have. I say, God, am I going to be able to accomplish all of that before I leave here? Because I sure want to. I want to accomplish all the stuff that I see. And I don't care, and some things I won't live to see, but guess what? I will have laid a foundation. I will have set up a legacy. Because I'm telling you, some folk will remember I was here. And that's the thing. It's like, I believe that God has put so much in each of you that the world needs to know that you exist. The world needs to know your name, Francesca. They need to know you sitting in there behind that sewing machine. They need to know who you are. The world needs to know who you are, Yolanda. Stop hiding behind all those gifts. Smart, smart, smart girl. And she won't even open her camera. But the world needs to know who you are. There's so much in you. So much. And all of us, everybody that's on here, everybody on the sound of my voice, LaShavia, Brenda, Sandy, Woo Woo, Carrie. I don't know who iPhone is. Whoever iPhone is, type your name in because I don't know who that is. I just see iPhone. But the world needs to know who you are. Everybody on here. Stop sitting on it. Yes, we're walking the thin line. But you can't be afraid to step out on faith. Diane, hey Lola.
Yeah, hey Diane.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You have so much to offer. Remember, we talked about this a long time ago that Colonel Sanders was 66 before he actually tapped into the franchise. He started his work early on and during the Depression selling chicken on the side of the road because, you know, actually he was giving it away at one point. Then he started selling it. Then he bought a filling station, didn't make any money with the filling station. And he sold the filling station, and then somebody came to him and talked about a franchise. And a lot of us have eaten KFC. So it's still here today. And it all started from him not being afraid to step out in this franchise at 66. Come on. You're still breathing. There's still something to do. You got to leave some stuff here. Leave legacy, leave awesome greatness in this world. The world will know you. The world will know that Brenda Jackson was here. The world knows she here right now every time they open up Culinary Roots magazine online. This the girl is the author of 2 books and a publication. She's a publisher. Yes, she is.
Okay.
Woo. Boy, I want to be like Brenda when I grow up. All right, good people. The doors of the church are open. And we will type in her little thing, won't you come?
I was waiting for it.
But won't you come? When the doors of the church are open, and then we will always type in, won't you come? But anybody, if you want to say something, you can open your mics now. We're pretty much done with our discussion, but this was like, it got me because I was like, because of the way I felt this morning. I woke up with that feeling, and y'all know how I am with affirmations. I have to get in the mirror and I have to start talking to myself. And I can remember who said this. Sometimes you have to tell yourself off. Sometimes you have to just jack yourself up and tell yourself off. And I had to do one of those things this morning because, of course, the seed of doubt and fear and everything starts to seep in. And that's what happens on that tightrope. You step out on that tightrope and you feel shaky. And I felt a little shaky because there's some things that I'm doing right now. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's unsettling because some of it is new territory. And some of it is even in businesses that I'm in, but it's things that I've never had to do before, things that I've never done before. And now I have to do them. And the challenge is greater, but I'm not afraid of the challenge. And that's why I was sitting there like, why am I thinking about whether or not I'm too old? What? Girl, if you don't get up, that's a foolishness. God's got this. I have to balance. I have to balance myself. I have to counterbalance all of the foolishness. The foolishness comes to try to get me down. My faith does like this. Counterbalance. And that's what we have to do. I'm walking a thin line. And I'm going to hold on. I'm going to stay on the straight and narrow. Wow. Yeah. I'm going to say, OMG, all of my Kool-Aid. You know what? Woo Kool-Aid get violated every week, I think. Woo boy, we'll be making the Kool-Aid. Won't you come? We'll be making the Kool-Aid, but you know what? And I be in my own Kool-Aid every week. I'll be like, what? I mean, I've been kind of cool for the last month, I think. But today I felt one of them convicting moments all over again with Can We Talk? It's like, oh my God, you're going to make me talk about this tonight, dog? And I'm struggling. God knows I was struggling this morning, but I had to get up and I had to shake myself and pull myself together. And sometimes it's like that. And then, you know how I mean, we talk about that all the time, how we have to fight constantly and
Yeah.
affirm.
Yeah, you really do. You have to fight. You have to fight for your peace. You have to fight for your joy. You just have to fight just sometimes to get up in the morning. But you know what? At least we're able to fight.
Exactly. At least we're showing up to the fight.
Yes, yes, yes.
I got my
Mhm.
gloves on. I see you, Brenda. Come on,
Yeah.
preacher.
Oh, I just wanted to say I thoroughly enjoyed this. When I saw the topic, I knew as soon as I got home, however I had to do it, I had to be on. Because first of all, I love the visual that you gave. Because if you've ever seen tight ropers, that what they intentionally not do. The problem is when we start looking down is when we lose our balance.
That's
Yeah,
right.
We
yeah.
have to continue to look up and look forward. And so, because yes, there's two cookbooks, and yes, there's a magazine, and every time we put that magazine out, there is a battle. I have to tell me to shut up. There is within me, I know what I want. I know what my brand stands for. And when it's not just where I need it to be, then we keep going back. And we can't get caught up in, okay, we set a date for it to happen, for me to release it, but we might need to pull it back for a couple of more days to get it right. We put ourselves in a bind, we put ourselves back in a corner, and it's like, who gonna tell you any different that it needs to come out on the date that you said it? I am the publisher. I own the magazine. I make the decisions. So it's like I had to tell me to shut up so the person that owns and is the publisher can make executive decisions. So yeah. And even if it's not in some brick and mortar building or whatever, whoever you are, whatever you have, you own it. You get to make the decisions. No one can come veto anything except you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, you got other people working with you. So yeah, so I thank you for this tonight.
Amen. Amen. Let me tell you, Brandon, and that honestly is where I've been. I've been so wound up in, and a lot of it is my own chatter,
Mm-hmm.
not even somebody else's chatter.
Right.
And like you said, you have to tell yourself to shut up. I had to like, and that was me this morning, telling myself I'm too old for certain things. And that it's time. I'm like, time to what? Whatever. Girl, if you don't hurry. So it's like,
Exactly.
me to hurry. And it is a fight. It's a fight because you know what? The devil doesn't want to see us succeed anyway. And every time you publish, you're bruising his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each and every time. Because see, those are things that are just not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that
Exactly.
unsettling feeling comes, that pit in your stomach and that lump in the throat, and are
Yeah.
people going to like
All
it?
of
Are they
that.
going to read it? Oh my God, is it going to make sense? How's it going to look? Oh,
Yeah.
everybody going to get their, I know my articles be late. Everybody going to get their articles in time. And I swore up and down I was going to get my articles in on time this time, and I was like a day late, but I got them in.
But yeah, all of that, all those little things happening in your head and whatever. And here's the other part. Right now, with everything that's gone on with this pandemic, we have grabbed hold to a justifiable reason not to do, and it is wrong.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It is so wrong. This is the time to go beyond it, like what you're speaking about, that counterbalance. And so that's why that mindset kicked in for you, Anita, and was kicking in for me as well,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, well, whew, my mind was here and there. So I made a decision today, and I decided to take off Thursday and Friday and give me a 4-day weekend so that my creative juices can flow where they need to, because I know Eat Well needs to start composing more on our culinary portfolio. I need to
Wow.
work with Angelica, the graphic designer for my magazine, so we can get the cover together and layouts, and I need to start pulling photos and all that because we're in the design phase now for the magazine. I can't do that when I'm at somebody else's office
Come
doing
on
what
now.
to make them money. I need
Come,
to, for me, these next 4 days. And the only way it's happened is when I decided to do it. And from the moment I made that decision and sent the email to our legal administrator, it was like a breath of fresh air. I said,
Wow.
okay, I got you.
Wow.
So,
Amen, Brand. I'm happy for you.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to do that. We just have to take charge and say, you know what? I'm going to take charge of my creative flow. I'm going to take charge of my mind. I'm going to take charge of my business.
exactly.
And I'm going to take charge of my time. Because at the end of the day, only you can be the one to govern that time balance.
Yeah.
You know, and your life doesn't belong to everyone else. And that's why you have to, like, you know, when you, and especially, I don't understand people who have the time and never take vacation, never take personal leave, never take a sick day. I'm like, well, what are you working for? Why are you working like and not taking your time? It belongs to you.
Exactly.
You
You know,
work for
I
them.
was one of those people. We leave so much on the table. We work, we make a commitment to work, and your employer made the commitment to pay you. But then also there's benefits, but we do. And I remember reading the stats one time, mainly in America, where there are millions and millions of hours left on the table where we don't take vacation. And I mean,
Um, one of my clients' father used to do that, and he would have like weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like,
yeah,
he off again? She's like, yeah, he has to use that time before. I'm like, oh wow. And his wife had to force him to start taking the time because he wouldn't take it. He's like, are you kidding me? You've earned that. Take the
exactly.
time. You have a family. Spend a week with your mom, even if we're not going anywhere. Do something for you.
Yeah.
Go golfing. Do something. And she had to force him to start taking the time. Because they would take like little 2 weeks, you know, and go a week and go on a cruise here, and a week and go on vacation, you know, visit some family or friends or whatever. But then he would have like 2 or 3 weeks left.
Wow.
And all of his personal time, he would never take a day. So she had to start forcing him to take that time. Now he take his time.
Good. Good.
So good for you, Brand. I'm very happy. All right, good people. So if anybody else want to say anything? Anybody else want to unmute and chat? Well, Brenda, we even had Francesca talking last week.
What?
Yes.
Wait,
She was.
she actually allowed her tongue to flap
She
up and down
did.
inside her mouth.
She
Wow.
talked last week a lot.
I'm very proud of you, girl.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you.
Yes, she did. Last week got her, honey.
Francesca, you need to start working on some designs for me and Anita for our chef's coats for Eat Well.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I will definitely look into that, love.
Oh, that'll be cool.
All
I'll
right,
look into
great.
that. Okay.
Thank you.
And you want it, you said coats, right, B?
Yes.
Coats. Okay, no
Yeah.
problem. I'll get some stuff
Okay.
together, send it over, tell me what you like. Okay.
Thank you,
Now, for
ma'am.
those who have not watched She Did That, have any of you watched it? Has anybody watched it besides me?
No, I know.
No,
It's
no,
on
it's on my,
Netflix.
that's on
It's
my
on
to
Netflix.
do.
Yes, please watch it. If you're especially a woman who has any business or any business interest or helping someone with a business, or you think you're going to go into business for yourself eventually, or just like any type of movement or anything, watch the documentary. It is very good. And this is the very thing that one of the women was talking, the woman who actually produced the documentary, she said, there were a couple of women who were saying, I knew that what she had was going to benefit my business. So I went to her to collaborate. And when you go to somebody and collaborate with them in business, it only builds both businesses more. And so this is the kind of thing that they were talking about. I think one had like a bedroom setting and the other one made candles. And so they collaborated in advertisement and everything. And it was like, wow, but businesses do it all the time. Even big corporations, they'll collaborate with another company. And it just seems like we don't do that. And women, the Black female are one of the leading entrepreneurs in the country, in the world. Women of color start more businesses than anybody. And the thing is, we have to build each other. And a lot of the women that were on that show, they didn't have investors. I don't think any of them did. They started with their own money. We're like, I was making lipstick in my kitchen. That's the kind of thing. Yes, you have to watch it. It's very, very encouraging, very enlightening. I was so moved by it. I watched it twice. So go and watch it because this is the very thing. And this is the kind of stuff that we talk about with the movement. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can live the best version of yourself and win. You never know where you doing coats for Eat Well, Live Well, Be Well can take you. You could very well design a coat for chefs, period, where people don't have to feel like the average chef. Like, oh, girl, you better go to Francesca. You have a whole line of designers, because there are a lot of female Black chefs. And they can have something that's unique and different, that is not something that you're going to buy out of a catalog that's common. Oh, Brenda, you on to something now. See, that's what I'm talking about. Iron sharpens iron. That's what we talk about. That's the movement. Helping
one thing
at the winner's table.
Well, one thing I will say, she, for as long as I've known, BJ, she's always sharpened me. Always kept
That's
me
what
on
she does. Likewise, that's what she does.
I will say, at times it hurt, but it was worth it though.
I know you got pissed off a few times, but I don't care.
Hey, that's how it happens. I mean, it takes a friend to tell you. It takes somebody who loves you to tell you. And sometimes even on here, I know we step on a few little toes and stuff with some points, especially at Nets, because she has the most clever points all the time. I be waiting.
Yes, she does. Them 3 keys tonight, I was like, God, dog.
And Nets points be like, I be like, what's she going with that?
I'm a quotologist now.
You are a quotologist. You have earned that, honey. You have earned that. You walk in that. You release the giant in you in that.
Yeah.
All right, good people. Well, thank you all again for coming. We appreciate you. You could have gone anywhere else, but you stopped by here with the movement. And as we always say, we'll be back next week, same time, same place, different topic. Bring a friend, and let's continue to keep these conversations going. You want to say anything in there before we hop on?
I want you to read what Woo said.
Woo say, yeah, but my feet always hurt after this evening. I cannot with Woo.
Oh.
But it helps you to grow, Woo. Your feet might hurt. Woo is funny. All right, good people. So y'all be blessed. Mwah. We love you. See you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. All righty then.